Hello, viewers. I'm Mr. Dilip Kumar Pal, stand before you with a topic major reasons of tribal developments in pre-independence period. What are the major reasons for the tribal movement in pre-independence period? It is found in plus 3 fifth semester DSE2 paper, and the name of the paper is Development Process and Social Movements in Contemporary India. So today's video is major reasons for the tribal movements in pre-independence India or pre-independence uh, period. But before I discuss major reasons of tribal movements in pre-independence period in India, I want to inform my viewers that name of my channel is at the rate Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. Never forget, in this channel, videos of plus 2 level students and videos of plus 3 level students are found. What videos you will find of plus 3 level? From first semester political science honors up to plus 3 sixth semester political honors. From plus 3 first semester ethics and values up to plus 3 fifth semester ethics and values. From plus 3 first semester political science general elective up to plus 3 second semester political science general elective. Some videos of environmental studies of plus 3 first semester are found in this channel, and political science videos of plus 2 first year and plus 2 second year are also found in this channel. So I request my viewers that any video you want, any video on any topic you want, just write my name Dilip Kumar Pal and the name of the topic in Google or YouTube. You will find both English video and Odia videos. Any video you will find in English, its Odia version is also found in the channel. Any video you will find in Odia, be sure its English version is also present in the channel. Let us start. Major reasons of tribal movements in pre-independence period. For what reasons tribal movements were found in pre-independence period? Tribal movements were not found without any reason. There are many reasons of tribal movements in India prior to independence. Let us start. Tribals or scheduled tribes or Adivasis are those people who are not natives or indigenous people. Tribals or scheduled tribes or Adivasis are those people who are natives or indigenous people outside Indian caste system, and they are socially disadvantaged people. So tribals means scheduled tribes or Adivasis or natives or indigenous people who are not found in the Indian caste structure. They are outside Indian caste structure and they are socially disadvantaged people. So tribals or natives or indigenous people or Adivasis are those people who are not found in the Indian caste structure. They are outside Indian caste structure and they are socially disadvantaged people. Means they are such people who are facing various types of social problems. They are known as tribals. These tribals made movement prior to independence due to following reasons. These tribals made movements prior to Indian independence due to many reasons. Reasons of tribal movements prior to independence. What are the reasons of tribal movements prior to Indian independence? Number one, reactionary cause. The first important reason or first important cause for which tribal movements were found prior to independence was reactionary cause or reactionary reason. So what is a reactionary reason? It is a vital cause of tribal movements. It is a vital cause of tribal movement. It means tribal people made movements when alien groups started to create obstacle in their life in the pre-independence period. So they made movements to bring back the old good days. The first reason of tribal movement in India prior to independence was reactionary cause. Reactionary cause means when outsiders started to interfere in their life, they resisted and wanted to bring back their old age. So, reactionary cause means whenever outsiders started to interfere in their life, started to interfere in their culture, they started to react and they started movement against the interference of outside in their life, and they wanted to protect, they wanted to bring back their old good days. Number two, conservative cause. It is another reason of tribal movement in India. Tribal made movement when attempt was made to change their life and culture, and they made movement to maintain status quo. Conservative cause means it is another cause of tribal movement prior to independence. Conservative cause means when outsiders wanted to change their life, but tribals made movement to keep up their culture and customs. Conservative cause. It is another reason of tribal movement in India. Tribal made movement when attempt was made to change their life and culture, and they made movement to maintain status quo. Another reason of tribal movement is the conservative cause. Conservative cause means when attempts were made to change their life, tribals made movement to maintain their status quo or to maintain their life as it is. Number three, revolutionary or revivalistic cause. Revolutionary or revivalistic cause. It is also a vital reason of tribal movement in pre-independence period. It means tribal made movement to purify certain elements of their culture by eliminating evil customs, beliefs and institutions. Revolutionary or revivalistic cause means whenever revivalistic or revolutionary cause means sometimes tribals made movement to purify their culture by eliminating evil customs, beliefs and institutions. So revolutionary or revivalistic cause was a major reason of tribal movement in pre-independence period. Revolutionary or revivalistic cause means tribals made movement to purify their culture by eliminating evil customs, evil beliefs and evil institutions. They wanted to purify their life by eliminating bad customs, bad beliefs and wrong ideas. It is the third reason of tribal movement prior to independence. Number four, land loss. Land loss was another reason of tribal movement prior to independence. What was land loss? Another cause of tribal movement was the British practice of taking away tribal lands through land acquisition and granting them to non-tribal landlords, displacing tribal communities from their traditional territories and disrupting their subsistence practices means methods to obtain food and other resources for survival. Another reason of tribal movement in pre-independence period was the land loss. Whenever British government made laws to acquire tribal lands. At the time, tribals were deprived from their land and they made movement, because when British government made laws to acquire their land, in the one hand, tribals were deprived from their land and they were deprived from subsistence practices, means methods to obtain food and other resources for survival. So whenever British government made laws and acquired tribal people's land and distributed the land to non-tribal people, tribals were deprived from their land and they were also deprived from the subsistence practices, means methods to obtain food and other resources for survival. Whenever British government made laws to acquire tribal lands, and after acquiring tribal lands, they distributed the tribal lands to non-tribal people. So in one hand, tribals were deprived from the land. On the other hand, they were deprived from subsistence practices, means tribals were collecting food from the forests and they were deprived from this right to collect their food from forest. And when tribals were deprived from their land, they were deprived from means to collect their food for survival, because tribals were depending on their tribal land. When their lands were taken away by British government, they were deprived from the source, which was the land from which they were depending for their survival. Fifth one is exploitation. Outsiders like police, traders, moneylenders exploit tribals in different ways. It led to the tribal movement. Another reason of tribal movement was exploitation. Police, traders and moneylenders exploited tribal people, tribal independence. So it was a major cause of tribal movement. Sixth one is cultural suppression. What is cultural suppression? During British rule, Christian missionaries interfered with tribal customs and tribals considered them as representatives of alien rule and made movement. Cultural depression. Another cause of tribal movement prior to independence was the cultural suppression. Cultural suppression means Christian missionaries came to tribal area and they interfered in their culture, daily life. So tribals thought that these Christian missionaries were the representative of the alien government. So they started movement to protect their culture from the interference of the Christian missionaries. 7. Land revenue demands. The British government imposed high land revenue demands on tribal. Land revenue demand means the British government imposed high taxes on tribal land. So high taxes were imposed on tribal land. So tribals were unable to pay high taxes. So they made movement. 8. Harass attitude of tax collecting officials. Tribals faced harass attitudes from tax collecting officials. It is another cause of tribal uprising. Another cause of tribal uprising is harass attitude of tax collecting officials. Tax collecting officials during British days were harassing tribal people. So tribal peoples made movement for this. It was another cause of tribal movement. The harass attitude of tax collecting officials forced tribals to make movement. Then 9. General laws. Some laws of British government were intrusive and went against tribal customs and tribals. It led tribal uprising. Another cause of tribal movement was the general law. Another cause of tribal movement was the general laws. the laws of the British government was the laws of the British government were interfering in the tribal people's affairs. The laws of the British government were interfering in the affairs of tribal people. So it made tribal people angry as British laws were interfering in their affairs, they were interfering in their customs and practices. It forced tribal people to make movement. 10. Forest policies. British enforced Forest Act of 1865, 1878, which gave them a monopoly over forest land. Tribals lost agricultural land and were restricted from using forest produce. So another reason of tribal movement was the forest policies. British government made forest policies like Forest Act of 1865 and Forest Act of 1878. By these laws, British government had full control over the forest land and forest area. By this, tribal peoples were deprived from forest land and they were deprived from the practice to collect different things from forest. It forced tribals to make movement. 11. Forced labor. The British used coercive labor practices such as Rawatari, Jamindar system to exploit tribals for agricultural work. Another one is forced labor. The British government enforced different type of coercive, bad, cruel labor practices like Rawatari system, Jamindar system to exploit tribals for agricultural work. The British government implemented cruel labor practices like Rawatari system, Jamindar system to exploit tribals. It was another reason for tribal movement. The British government enforced cruel labor practices like Rawatari system, Jamindar system to exploit tribals. It made tribals angry to make movement. 12. Lack of representative. Tribal communities had little political representation in the colonial government, hindering their ability to address their grievances. Another reason of tribal movement was the lack of representation. In the colonial government, tribal people had no representatives. As they had no representatives, their grievances were not articulated before the colonial government. It forced tribal people to make movement. 13. Lack of development. Lack of development in tribal regions was another cause of tribal movement. Lack of development. During rule of British government, developmental works were not made in the tribal regions. So they remained backward. It forced them to make movement. Finally, denial of basic human rights. Denial of basic human rights like land ownership, cultural expression, access to essential services, etc. led to tribal uprisings. Another cause of tribal movement is denial of basic human rights. Tribals were denied basic human rights like land ownership, cultural expression, access to essential services, etc. It forced tribal to make movement. Tribals were not given basic human rights, like they were not given land ownership, they were not given freedom to carry out their cultural activities, and they were not given opportunities to enjoy basic essential services, Basic human rights were denied to them. They were denied rights like to perform their cultural activities. They were denied rights to enjoy or to get essential services. They were denied right of land ownership. It made tribals to make movement. So in this video we have discussed major reasons of tribal movements in pre-independence period of India. So I request my viewers, never forget to subscribe the channel at the red Dilip Kumar Pal 9375. If you will subscribe the channel, new videos will come to you. And the most important thing is, aware of your friends, maybe they are a plus 2 level or plus 3 level, about this channel. So some students will be benefited. Remember, a little help to anybody, it is a great help to mankind. Thank you. Have a good day.